Ladies and gentlemen, there is a richness that does not begin in the bank, nor emerge from the labor of your hands. It begins deep within the sanctuary of your spirit, the place where God whispers identity, purpose, and direction. Many spend their entire lives chasing wealth externally, unaware that the greatest riches are already breathing inside them, waiting to be awakened. Today, I invite you to step into a dimension of thinking that does not rely on human effort alone, but on the divine presence planted within you. These are the keys that transform desire into destiny, expectation into manifestation, and ordinary living into supernatural growth. True riches begin within. When your spirit aligns with divine intention, abundance becomes a natural expression of who you are. Because wealth is not first an achievement, it is an awakening. It is the moment you realize that everything God designed you to become already exists as a seed inside your spirit. Many people chase material success without ever discovering the internal treasure they carry. They assume abundance comes from effort alone, but true abundance flows from identity. When your spirit is in harmony with divine purpose, you stop striving and start becoming. You stop wrestling with fear, with doubt, with insecurity, because you begin to see yourself through the lens of heaven. You begin to understand that God does not pour greatness into empty vessels. He pours greatness into surrendered ones. And the moment your inner life aligns with His intention, something shifts. You move from surviving to creating, from wishing to manifesting, from hoping to knowing. When your spirit aligns with divine intention, your decisions become clearer, your environment becomes sharper, and your actions begin to reflect a higher wisdom. You stop chasing the things that drain you and start attracting the things that were designed for you. Divine alignment removes confusion and replaces it with direction. It removes fear and replaces it with courage. It removes scarcity and replaces it with a mindset that sees opportunities where others see obstacles. True riches do not begin when money comes, they begin when clarity rises. Because clarity pulls you into purpose, and purpose pulls you into provision. When you walk in purpose, you walk in a flow that no human system can interrupt. You carry a divine confidence that does not come from accomplishments, but from awareness. Awareness that you are connected to a source that cannot be depleted. As your spirit aligns with divine intention, you stop measuring your worth by what you own and start measuring it by what God has placed in you. You begin to recognize that your gifts, your ideas, your voice, your calling are all expressions of richness. You become wealthy in peace, wealthy in wisdom, wealthy in discipline, wealthy in vision. These are the foundations of true abundance because external riches rise from internal stability. Without inner alignment, wealth becomes fragile. But with inner alignment, even small beginnings carry the potential for extraordinary increase. And as you continue to align with divine intention, abundance stops being something you chase and becomes something you naturally express. Like a tree rooted near living water, you bear fruit without forcing it. You create without exhaustion. You attract without manipulation. You grow without fear. Because the God who formed you begins to operate through you, shaping your mindset, guiding your footsteps, and unlocking dimensions of potential you never knew you possessed. True riches begin within, and when your inner life aligns with heaven's design, your outer life becomes a reflection of divine abundance, steady, intentional, undeniable, and overflowing. Your thoughts become powerful when surrendered to God. They stop echoing fear and start carrying revelation. Because the mind was never designed to operate independently from its creator. When your thoughts run on human strength alone, they become anxious, reactive, overwhelmed, and easily manipulated by circumstances. But the moment you surrender them to God, they are lifted into a higher realm where clarity replaces confusion, peace replaces panic, and divine insight replaces earthly limitation. Surrender is not weakness, it is alignment. It is the sacred moment when your thinking disconnects from fear-based patterns and plugs into heaven's wisdom. Suddenly, what once intimidated you becomes understandable, and what once felt impossible becomes achievable. You begin to sense direction you never earned and solutions you never studied. That is the power of a surrendered mind. When fear rules your thoughts, you shrink, you overthink, you hesitate, you reinterpret everything through the lens of danger, scarcity, and loss. But when revelation rules your thoughts, you expand. Your perspective rises above obstacles, because revelation gives you access to what God sees, not what you fear. You stop wrestling with, what if it doesn't work, and start embracing, what if this is exactly what I was created for? Fear echoes loudly, but revelation speaks with authority. Fear confines you to the known, but revelation invites you into the destiny waiting beyond your comfort zone. When your mind is surrendered, you stop reacting to life and start interpreting life through divine truth. Every challenge becomes a classroom, every setback becomes instruction, and every disappointment becomes refinement. Surrendered thoughts carry a different weight. They carry intention, purity, and direction. They become seeds of purpose rather than seeds of panic. God begins to illuminate ideas, strategies, and insights that human logic could not produce on its own. You start recognizing the difference between distraction and assignment, between noise and guidance, between temptation and opportunity. Your thoughts stop sabotaging your growth and begin fueling it. You no longer think from a place of insecurity, but from a place of identity. Identity rooted in the one who created you with purpose and precision. The more your mind yields to Him, the more powerful your thinking becomes, because revelation empowers you to move boldly, consistently, and intelligently toward your destiny. And as revelation fills your thoughts, you discover a quiet confidence rising within you. Not arrogance, not self-reliance, but a steady assurance that you are not thinking alone. Your decisions carry discernment. Your creativity carries depth. Your vision carries clarity. You stop echoing the fears of your past and begin resonating with the possibilities of your future. Your thoughts become vessels for divine instruction, channels for inspiration, and instruments for transformation. This is the beauty of surrender. It does not limit your mind, it liberates it. When your thoughts bow before God, they rise carrying revelation, strength, direction, and the power to shape the life you were always meant to live. Wealth is not only money. It is clarity, wisdom, favor, courage, and the God-breathed ability to manifest purpose. Because true wealth was never meant to be limited to numbers in a bank account. It is the internal abundance that empowers external success. Many people possess money yet live in fear, confusion, or emptiness. But the one who carries clarity walks with direction. The one who carries wisdom makes decisions that create increase. The one who carries favor steps into rooms they never imagined entering. The one who carries courage moves boldly where others hesitate. And the one who carries divine purpose becomes unstoppable. Wealth is the atmosphere your spirit lives in when you are aligned with heaven's intention. It is the confidence to rise, the discernment to navigate, the strength to endure, and the vision to create a life that reflects the greatness within you. Clarity itself is a form of wealth because it saves you from wasted years and empty pursuits. A confused person can work harder than everyone else and still go nowhere. But when you have clarity, every step becomes strategic. Every relationship becomes meaningful. Every decision moves you toward destiny rather than away from it. Wisdom is another dimension of wealth. It gives you the ability to operate in excellence, to recognize timing, to discern opportunities, and to avoid traps that destroy others. With wisdom, you multiply without chaos. You grow without losing yourself. You rise without collapsing under the weight of success. Favor is a kind of wealth that cannot be purchased, negotiated, or earned through human effort. It is God opening doors you did not knock on and granting opportunities you did not chase. Favor positions you where money cannot place you. It introduces you to destiny connections, accelerates your progress, and makes your presence impactful. When favor rests on you, what is difficult for others becomes graceful for you. And courage, that inner fire that pushes you through fear, is one of the richest forms of abundance. Courage allows you to move despite uncertainty, to act despite intimidation, and to build despite the unknown. Without courage, ideas remain trapped in the mind. With courage, they become realities that shape the world around you. But the greatest wealth of all is the God-breathed ability to manifest purpose, to live not by accident but by assignment, to wake up knowing that heaven has deposited something in you that the world needs. Purpose gives meaning to work, value to struggle, and honor to every step of your journey. When you embrace purpose, you do not chase wealth. Wealth begins to follow you. Because purpose attracts provision, aligns relationships, and multiplies influence. You become a carrier of something greater than yourself, and that greatness begins to reflect in everything you touch. This is why wealth must be understood beyond money. Money is a tool, but true wealth is a foundation. It is the inner abundance that shapes outer success. It is the alignment of character, spirit, vision, and calling. When you carry clarity, wisdom, favor, courage, and divine purpose, you are richer than most people who only measure wealth by what they can count. You possess a richness that cannot be taken, stolen, or diminished, a richness that flows from the God within you. When God breathes upon your imagination, ideas that once felt impossible become assignments wrapped in destiny. Because imagination without divine breath is just creativity, but imagination touched by heaven becomes purpose. There are thoughts you once dismissed as unrealistic, too big, too risky, too unfamiliar. Yet those very thoughts were the whispers of God revealing who you were created to become. When His breath touches your inner vision, you no longer see through the eyes of limitation, you see through the eyes of divine possibility. The impossible stops intimidating you and starts calling you. What once seemed like a dream transforms into a mandate, something you cannot ignore because it carries the weight of your future. When God breathes on your imagination, your mind begins to stretch beyond your environment, beyond your upbringing, beyond the opinions that once shaped your limits. You start seeing what others cannot see, feeling what others cannot understand, and believing what others do not have the courage to attempt. These God-inspired ideas are not random. They are intentional seeds sent to activate purpose within you. They come with a sense of urgency, a pull, a stirring that keeps you awake at night. They are not fantasies. They are previews of what heaven has written about you. And the moment you recognize them as divine assignments, you begin to walk differently, with confidence, with clarity, with a boldness that does not depend on external validation. Divine imagination carries instruction. It reveals the path you are meant to walk, the people you are meant to meet, the doors you are meant to knock on, and the opportunities you are meant to create. Suddenly, small thinking becomes unbearable because it does not match what God is showing you. Fear loses its grip because destiny starts speaking louder. You stop asking, "How will I do this?" and start realizing, if God breathed it, He will guide it. The breath of God transforms your inner vision into a blueprint. It shifts you from dreaming to building, from hoping to moving, from waiting to preparing. Ideas touched by God always carry purpose bigger than your personal comfort. They stretch you, challenge you, and elevate you. They require growth, discipline, and transformation. But they also carry grace, the supernatural enablement that makes what seems heavy suddenly possible. When God breathes on your imagination, resources appear, connections align, timing unfolds, and pathways open. What felt beyond your ability becomes achievable because divine assignments come with divine backing. And as you follow these God-breathed ideas, you begin to notice something powerful. Your life shifts from wandering to walking in destiny. You no longer pursue things randomly, you pursue what heaven has marked for you. You begin to live with intention, direction, and spiritual confidence. Ideas that once scared you become the very things that define your future. Because when God breathes upon your imagination, He is not just inspiring you, He is revealing the next chapter of your calling. What felt impossible becomes purposeful. What felt distant becomes attainable. What felt like a dream becomes destiny unfolding right before your eyes. The God in you unlocks doors no man can shut. Divine partnership transforms effort into supernatural increase. Because when you walk with God, you do not move by your strength alone. You move with the backing of heaven. There are doors that remain closed to human striving but swing open effortlessly when divine presence accompanies you. What others chase anxiously, you receive gracefully. What others fight for, you step into with favor. This is the mystery of partnering with God. Your effort becomes multiplied, your path becomes cleared, and your results exceed the limits of natural labor. You are not just working, you are being carried, guided, empowered, and positioned. The God in you does what no strategy, connection, or qualification can accomplish alone. When divine partnership becomes your lifestyle, you begin to understand that growth is not merely a product of hustle. It is a product of alignment. You can work tirelessly and still remain stuck if you are pushing against doors that are not assigned to open. But when God is in you and you are aligned with His intention, the right doors open, the right opportunities appear, and the right people step into your life. Nothing and no one can shut what He has ordained for you. Human resistance cannot stop divine orchestration. Delay cannot cancel destiny. Even obstacles become stepping stones, because God makes all things serve His purpose in your life. Divine partnership also transforms the quality of your effort. You stop moving in anxiety and start moving in assurance. You stop operating from pressure and start operating from presence. You no longer fear lack, rejection, or failure, because you know that what God has opened, no man can close, and what God has assigned, no power can deny. Your confidence shifts from self-dependence to God-dependence, and with that shift comes supernatural increase, the kind of growth that cannot be explained logically. Ideas flourish, opportunities multiply, resources align. Doors appear where walls once stood. You begin to experience results that are greater than the work you put in, because divine grace magnifies your effort. When God is your partner, increase is not accidental, it is intentional, purposeful, and continuous. You rise in seasons where others fall. You advance in moments where others retreat. You stand firm when others collapse under pressure, because your strength is not your own. Your vision is not your own. Your access is not your own. The God in you becomes your power, your momentum, your authority, your supernatural advantage. You do what you can, and God does what you cannot. This is why divine partnership is the greatest key to increase. It does not eliminate effort, it elevates it. It adds breath where your strength ends. It adds favor where your ability limits you. It adds acceleration where progress once felt slow. And the doors God opens for you do not just give you access. They give you purpose, stability, and impact. When heaven partners with your hands, your life stops reflecting human limitation and begins reflecting divine possibility. Supernatural increase becomes your normal because the God within you is unlocking, lifting, enlarging, and establishing everything connected to your destiny. When you finally understand that your thoughts, your imagination, your courage, your wisdom, and your purpose are all expressions of the God within you, something extraordinary happens. You stop living from the outside in and begin living from the inside out. You no longer chase wealth as if it is distant. You awaken to the truth that abundance begins as a whisper in your spirit long before it appears in your hands. Everything you need to rise, to build, to create, to transform is already breathing inside you. When you align your mind with divine intention, when you allow God to breathe on your imagination, when you submit your thoughts to His wisdom, and when you walk in partnership with His presence, you carry a richness the world cannot measure. This is the secret of true abundance. It is not something you pursue, it is something you unlock. It is not something you compete for, it is something you grow into. And when you grow rich with the God in you, no door stays closed, no season stays barren, and no dream stays buried. You rise with purpose, you move with clarity, you walk with favor, you live with courage. And everything connected to your destiny begins to flourish. Let this truth settle in your spirit. The treasure you seek is already inside you. Awaken it, honor it, and partner with the one who placed it there. For when you think and grow rich with God, your life becomes a testimony of supernatural increase, unstoppable purpose, and abundance that overflows into every part of your existence.